President Trump's executive order is aimed at getting social media companies to operate without political bias. An exclusive interview, FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr tells One America's John Hines the move could bring about change online moving forward.
This is in relationship with the president, a recent tweet that I think Twitter put a fact check label on. And I want to read a tweet that went out in relationship to this. I think it'll sound familiar. Twitter has abandoned any attempt at a good faith application of its rules. No one should take comfort in that. Here it is punishing speakers, meaning I think the president, based on whether it approves or disapproves of their politics. Why do you think that is an accurate observation in this case, sir?
Look, Twitter's CEO, Jack Dorsey, favorably put out an article a while ago that said, bipartisanship is over. Democrats must win. Republicans must be thoroughly defeated. And it looks to me like the CEO is now letting his partisan political views influence the decisions that this company makes. And the reason for that is if you look at that label that was put over that tweet, it doesn't appear on its face to even line up with the content.
Looking at this executive order, for instance, that the president issued recently, I think that was partly in a reaction to Twitter, but I think probably a reaction to perhaps other social media platforms as well. And that, I think, redounds in one way or another to the Federal Communications Commission, I gather. And maybe you could explain the mechanics of how that's supposed to work.
Yeah, I thought the President Trump's executive order is really welcome news, and it does a couple things. One is it looks to the Federal Trade Commission to potentially take action here. And this goes to that point that I said before. If a business, Twitter or otherwise, is holding itself out to certain commitments, it should be accountable to that. The other thing it does is it calls for the administration to file a petition for rulemaking with my agency, the FCC, to have us take a look at this law. And here's what that's about. Every single speaker in this country has a First Amendment right, guaranteed by the Constitution. Above and beyond that right, though, Congress conferred in Section 230 a set of special legal rights and immunities. It did so, though, on the condition that they engage in good faith conduct, which, of course, implies that there's such thing as bad faith conduct that isn't covered by the statute. So this petition could tee up providing some guidance on the language that exists in Section 230.
So it sounds like, as I take that, a lot of this hinges on that phrase, good faith conduct.
Yeah, the good faith language is one that Congress put in the statute in the 1990s. So flash forward to today, and there's been very little, if any, federal guidance on what that term means. And so I think it's an entirely appropriate thing to seek comment on the scope of that language.
Of course, 230 is based on, I gather that distinction between ISPs and like media companies, newspapers and broadcast television and so forth. And so is it possible that some of these media technology companies have overstepped that boundary where they have become not so much an ISP anymore and they become more of a quasi-media sort of company? Is that possible?
Yeah, and look, I think there are different ways you could reform or address Section 230 that could probably turn out to make the problem worse, not better. So I'm not in favor of that. But to your point, there is this interesting line between political editorializing that some of these companies are engaging in versus the more type of content moderation takedowns that Congress potentially had in mind when it passed 230. I think all of those underscore the reason why maybe it's time to take another look at how this applies today.
So it sounds like here that the president's executive order could potentially get some traction with the FCC and may have some material, may event some material changes. Is that possible?
So the executive order provides 60 days for NTIA, which is a compartment of the Department of Commerce, to file a rulemaking petition with the FCC. And I think you would expect at that point for the FCC to run the normal course, which is to put that petition out for comment, take that comment back, review it, and then take action at that point.
So it is possible we could see some material changes?
I think that's right.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.